Hallo meine Lieben und willkommen zu einer neuen Aufnahme von der Council. In der letzten Folge ist Mr. Holm gestorben, weil, ja, Martin mal seine Seele gefressen hat. Sehr strange. Bücher. Das Problem ist, mich würde es ja interessieren, weil ich kann hier zwar aufs Inventar gehen, habe das Buch bekommen, aber ich kann es nicht lesen, obwohl ich vorher nicht lesen konnte, weil ich keine Punkte hatte. Das ärgert mich ein bisschen. Sag mal, in welchem Raum bin ich denn jetzt schon wieder? Also entweder brauche ich jetzt zum Schluss hin so viele von den Dingern. Ein Speisesaal. Wo bin ich? Hier. Große Vorhof. Roter Saal. Porträtgemälde. Ist nicht der rote Saal sogar der Speisesaal? Wenn ich mich recht erinnere. Na, da bin ich jetzt gespannt. Ja, ich weiß, ich renne gerade irgendwie hier durch die Gegend. Ja. Ich glaube, ich bin hier richtig.
Right. Now's the time to join Mortimer. I won't be able to go back after... Here we go.
Also entweder stirbt Louis jetzt.
Louis, at last.
You wanted to see me?
Let's get it over with, shall we? I've grown tired of all this. But before we begin, I would like you to give me back the Holy Lance, please. Now that Gregory is gone, you won't be needing it anymore, and I prefer to put it back in its place.
Nachdem Gregory nicht mehr unter uns weilt, wirst du sie nicht mehr brauchen. Und mir wäre es an ihrem angestammten Platz lieber. Ist egal.
Of course. Here you are, Father.
Thank you. Congratulations, by the way. You managed to find the right one among all the copies. I'm impressed. This conference will have been one of the most eventful I've ever known.
I'll just have to take your word for it.
Before I get to why we're here, you must know that I've been watching you very closely over these past few days. I won't hide the fact that I was disappointed with you for having taken so many risks with Jacques Peroux. Look where it got you. You could have died. As for the door of my crypt, no one had ever found out how to open it before you. You succeeded in telling the Hillsborough twins apart. Even for me, that wasn't an easy thing to do at first. I remain proud of what you achieved for me by falsifying that letter to the Pope on behalf of Piaggi, because I know that was not an easy task. But the important thing is that you escaped the worst with Volner, because he could have killed you when you were in the guise of Piaggi.
Yes, it was a bit touch and go.
Which leads me to a chat about what I envisage for you now. You are the chosen one, Louis. The one I've been waiting for all this time.
Thank you,
We are going to be able to become one.
I don't quite follow you.
Be proud of yourself, son, for you are the one I have chosen to be my next mortal coil.
Das war so klar.
What about me? Am I imagining things, or did he just tell me to my face that he's going to eat me?
Unfortunately, no, you won't survive the transfer. But I want you to know that I only select my bodies from my own children, and that you are the one who has impressed me most.
Ach du
Far from
Scheiße.
being my first time, as you can imagine. I didn't think it was possible to find a more promising son than dear Augustus. You can be very proud of yourself.
Wait a second, hang on. Do you realize what you're saying? Are you insane?
Oh, come, my son. Let's not end everything on a bad note, please.
Son of a bitch! He's not going to get away with this so easily. You're not going to get away with this.
That's quite enough. Who do you think you are? Be reasonable and let yourself go. It will save you a lot of pointless suffering, believe me. Don't fight.
Ach du Kacke.
I won.
Was ist denn das für ein Scheiß?
As Mortimer had planned, Napoleon Bonaparte sold Louisiana to the United States after purchasing it from Spain. Bonaparte continued his political and military ascension until he proclaimed himself emperor. He went on to invade a large part of Central Europe. The legend of Napoleon persisted after his death, conferring on the emperor the role of Messiah for France. Remaining very popular, George Washington put an end to the various internal rebellions without violence and re-established trade agreements with Great Britain. Upon his death, he became a national hero and left an entire nation in a state of mourning. On his return to Spain, Manuel Godoy proceeded to give Louisiana up to France. Later on, he became the target of the Crown Prince of Spain, Ferdinand VII. The latter gave no respite to his mother's lover, going as far as condemning him to exile. He confiscated all of Manuel's titles and possessions, as well as those of his mistress, Pepita. Pursued, they ended up living out their last years in France in poverty and anonymity. The influence von Wollner had over King Frederick William ironically ended up working against him. The sovereign thrust him into increasing repression until the end of his reign. Von Wollner became the object of the people's hatred, was therefore stripped of his titles and land by the new king, and died in poverty to general indifference in the Prussian countryside. His Eminence, having successfully accomplished his mission, returned to His Holiness the Pope with full honors. Although all his ambitions had become possible, to the stupefaction of his entourage, the cardinal preferred to retire to his Tuscan monastery, far from all political and diplomatic entanglements. Fascinated by the techniques involved in exorcism and demonology, he dedicated the last years of his life to the study of Inquisition reports. Elizabeth's family did everything in their power to find her, based on indications provided by their friend George Washington. In vain, they lost her trail in the port of Brest in France, and no one ever saw her again. Sarah de Richet threw herself into the Seine River from the Pont des Arts before a crowd of dumbfounded bystanders just a few days after her son's return to Paris. He spoke of his aging mother's recent depression and took over the running of the Golden Order, whose expansion was rapid. On his return to Paris, Peru gave himself up to his peers of the revolutionary courts. He admitted to being implicated in several state corruption cases. Found guilty of treason toward the Republic, he was executed without a trial. No more was ever heard of Lord William Mortimer. His sudden disappearance was the subject of conversations in the European courts, but only for a few months.
Ja. Ich habe versagt, würde ich mal sagen. Beim letzten Zug habe ich versagt, ich hätte die Lanze behalten sollen. Aber naja. Vor allem, das ging mir zu schnell. Ja, aber gut. Louis war auch sehr unerfahren, er hat es erst kurz vorher erfahren. Kacke. Scheiß Ende. Ja, ich hoffe, euch hat das Let's Play gefallen. mir hat es wahnsinnig viel Spaß gemacht und ich würde sagen, wir sehen uns bei einem neuen Let's Play. Wenn ihr solche Art von Spielen mögt, können wir gerne da gucken, geschweige denn ich gucke, was es sonst noch so gibt. Oder habt ihr Vorschläge für mich, dann schreibt es mir gerne in die Kommentare. Ich würde sagen, wir sehen uns bei einem neuen Let's Play. Bis dahin. Ciao, ciao.